Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. You're watching Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. What a day it is to come to work, and what a day it is to go out, and of course with that feeling of satisfaction, a good night's sleep, everything involved, because Pakistan has beaten India by 5 wickets in the second match of the Super 4 stage of the T20 Asia Cup in Dubai. Of course, Pakistan's captain Babar Azam won the toss, so I think all of us were very confident at that time, because the toss so far in the toss opted to bowl first. Going into bowling, India were off to an exhilarating start. I mean, Rohit Shah, visuals on your screen, just look at that 6 and then that straight shot over mid-off, and then KL Rahul also finding form, because both of them were firing all cylinders. So 50 in 4-5 overs without losing a wicket is tremendous. Tie the Indians up and choke them for runs. Some errors, they still managed to get 181 and then games. But in our part of the world, the culture is different. We always say if you want to finish Sunday where they will feel they went wrong, because Rohit Sharma in his post-match presentation highlighted the fact that these bowlers have got the talent, but they've not been put into such a situation. So I think we need to discuss that in detail, and we'll be discussing all of that in the show today. In studios, we've been joined by our worthy guests. First of all, a former Test cricketer, ICC match referee, part of the PCB management in various roles as well, and I always say an avid golfer. And then, of course, at the same time, our guidebook, when we need to know about the rules, a bit of history, the laws of the game, as one might say, and a lot of technicalities going in. Colonel Noshad Ali is joining us. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much for everything you said.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us. It's an honor as always. We've also been joined by our cricket expert and cricket commentator, very jolly human being to be around, always spreading positive energy, but highlighting very crucial points for Pakistan cricket, because he also feels the same pain and that fluctuation of blood pressure that most of us do. K. Asif Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam, Ahmed. I am fine. Thank you.
Great to have you on the show as well. Now, of course, like I said, a lot of things that we will be discussing in detail. We've also been joined by many other guests as well. But first of all, we've got a report on the game itself. Let's take a look. Let's refresh our memories. Let's enjoy those moments once again and then come back.
First match of the Super 4 stage to make it even against the Rohit Sharma-led side. The Green Shirts had a great start to the evening as they won the battle of the coin flips, but everything went south for them for a while after that. Indian openers KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma set the tone for the night with a blistering 28 each and laid a foundation on which Virat Kohli, well and truly back in form, capitalized to help as it helped Pakistan keep the required run rate in check. The partnership between Rizwan and Nawaz helped set the center stage for Asif Ali and Khushdil Shah to finish the game for Pakistan.
There you have it. Iftikhar Ahmed fittingly hits those winning runs, and we've enjoyed those moments as much as we can. Trust me, even after watching the entire match, it was so nostalgic that you had to watch the highlights all over again for just after an hour. So that just tells you the intensity of a Pakistan-India game. And I think throughout, if you look at social media as well, a lot of commentators, cricket broadcasters, former cricketers as well, have highlighted that this is the beauty of an India-Pakistan game, a group stage game, of course, into the Super 4, and the intensity was absolutely superb. So, Noshad, first of all, your thoughts on the entire game itself, where Pakistan realizes they've lost to India in the group stages, and then they go into the Super 4, very important game, high-intensity game, as we say, but the boys managed to keep their heads in.
Yes, of course. You called me something, talk about the history.
Yes, sir.
Can I say some words
please,
about the history of Pakistan-India cricket in UAE? It dates back to 80s. When Sharjah Stadium was built. There were crowd, India-Pakistan just overflowing the stadium. And would you believe it, at that time, there were two things still I remember. Once somebody hit a 6. Can you see in Sharjah Stadium background there are flats and
yes, sir.
everything?
Apartments.
It wasn't there, it was all sand around. And then somebody hit a 6, it went over the stadium and went into the desert. I think some English commentator was there. He said, well, the ball was hit over the sky and then it lost somewhere in Sahara. It was said that it was lost in desert. I mean, that used to be desert. But when India and Pakistan match was played, it was in desert. It was all flooded with the people.
Even outside the
Even outside as well. So what happened when the match used to finish, whether India wins or Pakistan wins, the UAE police, they used to arrange a separate entrance and exit for Indians and Pakistanis. I mean, that was something never happened in any game. I mean, everybody used to go like this. From that day, today, India-Pakistan playing in UAE is a sort of real competition of game of cricket and real festival for the two nations and of all around the world as well. So that was one of those things that has been continuing. And yesterday we saw Pakistan doing what they were supposed to do. They were pretty happy what they have done altogether. Now, on the technical part, if you look at this match, Indians, as you said, I mean, they started. I mean, they started in a way that they were 40 in 3 overs,
Yes,
45
sir.
in
Yes,
3
sir.
overs. And everybody was thinking they might cross 200 mark. And that was pretty sure for them. But somehow or the other, if you look at the graph, if I say like this, it was like this for India. Then came Pakistan, and gradually Pakistan went with them. And then all of a sudden they start coming down, and they were together, and Pakistan in the final went away. So that's what is the graph of the match. So what I can make out from this, Pakistan looks to be an organized body. They were all prepared for onslaught from the India. They were all prepared to take it. And one thing is proved that Pakistan is not one-man team. Pakistan is not one bowler team. Pakistan is not one all-rounder team. Pakistan is, there could be many heroes like you have seen. The
Rizwan and Nawaz. Yes, that's very true. So I think that is a topic that we really need to digress upon when we talk about everybody that has been involved in the team. Asif, you were a part of our transmission last night as well, and then of course you witnessed the entire game. What do you think changed for Pakistan in terms, of course we'll come to the setbacks as well. I think we've got a whole line of those that we want to discuss, but what really changed for us that, you know, made us have that intent that, okay, we're going to chase it down?
Well, that's a really important thing. And in your intro, you have mentioned about Rizwan, his patience, his commitment actually. And if you watch that, Pakistan is getting good in chasing since the World Cup T20 last year happened in UAE, the same thing. And Pakistan was really good in chasing, same thing that Babar and Rizwan, they coming up as opening batter, and then they, you know, people were talking about their strike rate, each and everything. But I don't want to discuss that because I am with you, and I strongly agree with you that this is what we have learned from our club cricket, that if you are going there, if you're an opener batter, and if you are playing, specifically if you talk about T20 game, if you have played 10 hours, then you should have to finish the game. So I think that the one thing that is the captain's mentality, and that Babar Azam is showing the you know, character, being a leader. He's doing really good job in this scenario that we are getting confident to chase down. And rest, I must appreciate that the Rizwan, the way he's playing and not getting pressure on him, because, you know, whenever he plays dot delivery, I used to watch on Twitter, you know, the sports journalists, they just right there, Rizwan, what are you doing? No more dot deliveries. Dear, come on, this is cricket. And this is international cricket. This is not your street cricket or club cricket. So they do understand what they're doing. They do understand better actually what they are behaving and what they are playing. And if you talk about the decision of Mohammad Nawaz, actually, you know, a day before this match, legendary fast bowler Wasim Akram was talking about his batting order, that if you want to take the result from Nawaz, please change his batting order. So I think it's good. Babar Azam has discussed in the team meeting, and then they have decided that if you are you know, pushing him up and going to smash some hitters, I think one thing which rest of the batters should have understand, and we talk about Khushdil Shah and Asif Ali, what is the difference between Nawaz and Asif, that Nawaz is technically so good and Asif Ali is...
I think another very important point that Asif just inadvertently highlighted as well, because of Khushdil and Iftikhar and Asif Ali, of these three people. I think now for Pakistan, it's an eye-opener because of what we did by promoting Nawaz, is that now we need to define the roles of each and every individual. Of course, Shadab could have been promoted there as well, but Nawaz was the better option considering that India were going with two leg spinners and a left-hander generally is more effective against a left-arm bowler or a leg spinner. So I think that we'll discuss in just a bit. We've also been joined by sports expert Ali Abbas. Ali, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum Assalam, Ahmed. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, Ali. Like I said, a great morning to wake up to, a good night's sleep. Everything looks very bright. You know, the fields of summer, the colors are there. Everything is going like a fairy tale. But the reasons are, of course, last night's game. What would you like to say about that?
Are you talking about United Arsenal or Pakistan India?
Of course, I'm talking about Pakistan India, and United Arsenal. I will keep it for another day.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I think it was a really exciting game, and I think I'm just going to add to what Asif bhai was mentioning because as I joined, I was hearing a lot about what he was saying. I mean, obviously, everything is really positive for the Pakistani team at the moment. We are the best team in Asia at the moment, and even the Indian team is scared of us. You could feel that on the pitch that even after 188, Ahmed, if you just rewind maybe 3 years ago, the Indian team would have been really confident of defending this, but not this time around. But yes, I think one problem that does exist for Pakistan is everyone says that we bat really deep, we have a lot of batsmen, but when you have Shadab coming in at number 7, it clearly shows that you have not specified the roles because Shadab is not a pinch hitter. I mean, he's someone who is gifted in terms of shots, but he's not a slogger who's going to hit sixes for 90 meters. So I think Pakistan has a problem at the moment, which they must address, is what roles do they have for the likes of Asif Ali, Khushdil Shah, Iftikhar Ahmed and Shadab. Because Nawaz has proven that maybe he can come up the order, but we have to define the roles because as we go into the World Cup, this uncertainty can maybe lead to a collapse at a stage where we would not want it. So rightly agreeing with you and what Asif said, we need to define the orders. But other than that, with Shaheen coming back in, our bowling attack being the best, our batting doing amazing, Babar Azam, being brave enough to send Nawaz up the order, everything looks good for the Pakistani team at the moment, and a lot to look forward to for the fans as well.
Definitely. I think very important that not every day can this work when you talk about this uncertainty. Of course, we're a team that likes to take our chances, but going into stronger oppositions who might not feel that pressure of a Pakistan-India game, they might jot you down. They might not give you an escape like this. So that's very important. Colonel Saab, Rohit Sharma in his post-match presentation said that the thing with T20 cricket now is that no total is safe. So he eventually said that I was happy with 181. I felt comfortable with 181. But that really is the case right now throughout the world, that it's very important that we don't see this happening. But we'll come to this right in just a bit after a short break. Stay tuned. To Sports Extra, of course, the break I was discussing this with Colonel Saab that, no total is safe now in T20 cricket. That's what Rohit Sharma said, sir, that I'm very comfortable. I was very comfortable with 180, but Pakistan just played exceptionally well.
Why Rohit Sharma said so? Because if you look at the record of the Dubai Stadium, I mean, it's hardly one or two moments that it's crossed 200 mark. Otherwise, it never crossed.
You said this initially, sir, that it would be very difficult.
It is difficult. Why difficult? Because number one, the balls come off the pitch a little bit slow. Number two, it is a variable height. When there is a variable height, then to adjust, you cannot hit on the easy flow of the bat, but you have to maneuver yourself. You have to bring in the position right as we are discussing in that you have to change your body position to play a long shot. So that long shot is now being learned by so many batsmen in all the team, most of the teams. So it's absolutely right. If a pitch is little bit of more comfortable for the batsman, and if the outfield a little bit more fast and little bit shorter like Sharjah, then Rohit Sharma is absolutely right that 200, even 220, 240 is not safe.
I was looking at the graph as well, like you mentioned, sir. Even last night they were giving comparisons. At times the score was either even for both their teams on certain overs, 13th over, 15th over. but the major difference was Pakistan had wickets in hand. So probably that became the main difference in the game.
Credit goes to whom? Rizwan. He ensured that the other side plays well, plays fast, and plays their national game. I'll just take two technical things regarding Rizwan. I mean, one thing is there that if you remember, when there used to be new batsman coming in, and if he is beaten or he couldn't connect the ball, he will come on the right of the umpire and then face the batsman and then give him tips. That's very, very professional. I mean, the batsman may not accept it, but he is the one who ensured that the other batsman is settled down before he plays the big shots. One. Number two, when there were decisions going on about the third umpire, he straight away came and stood with the umpire, talking to the umpire all the time, just gaining his attention. Why he was gaining his attention? To ensure that if the decision goes against it, he should not be disappointed because he gave the decision. And if he is not disappointed, he will not be thinking something Pakistan.
Down from saying that Wasim Akram actually pointed this out, that Rizwan cannot play like this. He needs to have a higher strike rate. But my point is that our part of the world, our traditionally natural game is not that. I think if we try to do that, we might not even end up with 80 or 120. Once in a while it can work, the way you did it, long before in England with Sharjeel and Khalid Latif opening, that worked. Otherwise, traditionally for Pakistan, over the years, if you look at cricket, it's been the case that we need to have wickets in hand, and in the last 4 or 5 overs, if we've got 50, 55, we'll be comfortable chasing it down.
Well, that's right, and you can take an example of the World Cup of 1999, where the legendary Wasim Akram was the captain. That we did have wickets in hand, and later down Moin Khan hit sixes, smashes sixes, and even then, if you talk about somewhere Abdur Razak and Inzamamul Haq helping them out in last 5-10 hours. So I think it's a good idea, but I respectably don't agree with Wasim Akram, that because I don't care if your strike rate is 100 in T20. If you're winning, if this is your strategy, that's fine. Of course, that when you're losing the game, people ask you these questions, and definitely you should ask these questions. But I think, as Karnal Sahab mentioned, that the credit goes to Mohammad Rizwan. See his commitment, see his
even after an injury.
Yes. See his patience and the way he was leading the team in the batting. It's phenomenal, that giving chance to Mohammad Nawaz to play your natural game, play and go and hit some sixes and boundaries. So I think Mohammad Rizwan is playing anchoring role, and even then his strike rate is 140.
We won't shy from, I think we should say this on live television, that right now the most important player in the Pakistan team is Mohammad Rizwan.
Of course, and let's suppose you can minus this 30-40 runs, what would be happen with the Pakistan team? We can't win, of course, and that's why people, please, this is my humble request to all the cricket lovers, to all the analysts, please. The dot delivery concept is in the cricket, and you'd have to give the respect to the good deliveries. How you can hit each and every delivery out of the park?
Look, India had 34, 37 dot balls in the first almost 8 overs.
And Virat Kohli played the same innings, and you can see that overall in 3 matches he got the strike rate of 140, and he hit only 6 boundaries.
But
what does it mean?
Can we say this, and then I'll move on to Ali Abbas with the same question. Strike rates in T20 are important, but like Karnal Sahab mentioned, not in Dubai. In Dubai, the average strike rate should be between 100 and 120 for the top 3-4 batsmen right now.
That's right. I strongly agree with Karnal Sahab. But you know that even then, see in the broader prospect, let's suppose if you are playing in Sydney and your team is winning, would you ask that what would be what's your strike rate?
Not really, unless if I say it costs the team dearly in the last moment.
So I think Rizwan is playing so nicely. Please do not put pressure. Actually, he does not take pressure, as Karnal Sahab said. So he's going so fine, and Pakistan team, especially Nawaz, Rizwan, and I must talk about the spinners as well. They're playing so nicely.
I've never seen Rizwan angry, but yesterday when I saw a couple of missed fields, I saw him give a very strange stare to the fielder, and that shows the intent that he's got in the game as well. Ali Abbas, overall the chase has been perfect. We highlighted Nawaz being promoted up the order, him being a proper batter than people would have thought. And that's the thing with T20 games, you've got to improvise. If you see that you can shuffle the batting order, do it immediately before something happens. So we were able to do that. But at the same time, we need to discuss the Indian setup right now, because for the very first time, and I thought people were gauging it from the toss, Rohit Sharma looks in immense pressure. And I think that has transcended onto the team, because the only reason India has been such a strong side over the past 10 years, one, MSD has never let that pressure go to the team. He's absorbed it. And even Virat Kohli, because he came from that same mindset, always took that pressure. And even against Australia, even in England against England, and even in Pakistan-India games, he took all that pressure and the team looked very confident.
Season, I would just like to say that it seems to be a divided dressing room. I think after the way Kohli was removed and Rohit Sharma was brought in, he knows that he does not have the complete control of the dressing room. In terms of why Rishabh Pant did not play the first game, he played the second game, why Dinesh Karthik was moved. I mean, you could see that there are certain decisions being taken in there which have a lot of uncertainty. We know the IPL has created a huge divide as well, and that happens when you have such a big brand of cricket. You saw Indian fielders yesterday not putting in a lot of pressure. I still remember when two fielders were running towards the ball when Asif hit a four, and both of them were signaling towards one another to put a dive in. There is something wrong in the Indian dressing room, and for Virat Kohli to come out and say that no one texted me after I left the captaincy, right after losing the game to Pakistan, there are certain issues in the Indian dressing room. Maybe Pandya wants to take over the captaincy and he feels he's the best player, but those issues are now starting to show on the pitch, where you can feel that they're not a united figure once they're put under pressure. So not the worst when it comes to being a Pakistani fan against India, but I think there are certain things that have to be sorted out. I do feel that maybe they're not happy with Rohit as a captain, and you might see Hardik Pandya making a strong stance.
But Ali Abbas, why is the cricketing world not discussing this? I really I think this needs a complete program of what has been done to Virat Kohli from inside the Indian dressing room. Why is this not being discussed at large?
Ahmed, the only reason why it's not being discussed at large is because the cracks that existed in the Indian setup were being papered over by Virat Kohli's form, Mahendra Singh Dhoni's captaincy, Rohit Sharma's form. The moment those things are going, these things will be brought into the limelight. Virat Kohli had a lot of hate from a few senior players, the likes of Harbhajan Singh, Gautam Gambhir. They didn't have the best of relationships with Virat Kohli. But now when these performances would be brought to the table, you would see these things coming up. Indian brand with the IPL, the way they performed in the ICC events, they were just fantastic. But now we would see those things coming to the front, because all of the Indian players that are coming in now feel that they have completed their goals by playing in the IPL. The Indian team is just a bonus. And that is
right, definitely. Colonel Saab, I think this is a very large topic that really needs an in-depth analysis, and I think Ali really mentioned a great terminology, the crack in the Indian cricket team. That should probably be the topic of that show. It's visibly there now. I fail to understand why it's not being discussed, because initially the timeline is that Virat Kohli comes up with mental health problems and addresses them. That's the first phase. Second phase, he highlights that nobody called me when I left my test captaincy, only MS Dhoni called me. A lot of people had my number, but they would only suggest on TV and never give me advice or help or call me personally. Third thing, he says that it's not in my hands. I can play well, give my 110%, rest is all in the Almighty's hands. So also highlights certain things. And I've gauged social media over the past 2 days. Some segments, not Indians I'll say, particularly Pakistanis, have realized, and people from over the world, that there is a very serious problem in the Indian dressing room right now.
Mr. Ravi Shastri, I mean, he is the key. He's been with Virat Kohli for many years. They've been hand and gloves together. I mean, Virat Kohli has been defended, rather encouraged by Ravi Shastri and all the places. Not now, even when he wasn't coach, before that
as a broadcaster.
As a broadcaster. And then I saw him in the West Indies. He was just calling him straight away that he is a new entry to the Indian cricket and he will be a world-class player. Well, that happened. It doesn't matter. But I think Pakistan has to there should be a lot of work from the Pakistani media. They should support, they should make out an interview of Mr. Ravi Shastri. And then ask him questions here and there. And in between that, you touch this topic as well.
Smartly.
Very nice, yes.
When something comes out, I mean, then you have your own opinion, make the story, and then publish it, and then have an over
Absolutely.
debate all over the senior journalist of the Pakistan.
Sir, I think with your intro, we also need to add investigative journalist now. That's a very well way to put it. But Ali Abbas, K. Asif Ahmed and Kansab, thank you very much,
Thank
sir,
you.
for joining us. Really great to have all our esteemed guests discussing this in detail. The fact is that Pakistan has won. They've won it in style. They're up on the confidence level and also on the points of the Super 4 stage as well. It's going to be very tough to call it now. India against Sri Lanka and then India against Afghanistan. For India at least, it's going to be very, very tough because Sri Lanka know this. If they win even one more game, they're probably going to qualify. And Afghanistan want to make it through. They're already one game down. So it's going to be an interesting phase right now. But Pakistan cannot take it easy. They need to work on those mistakes and try to win every game so that they have a sure shot of qualifying for that final as well. That wraps up this show. But before we go, a very dear friend, a brother and a colleague of PTV World, Mr. Amir Shah, more commonly known as Swagger all around, has his birthday. So Amir, a very happy birthday to you. May Allah bless you from all the team of Sports Extra and PTV World and PTV in general. And we hope that all blessings of the Almighty come to you with good health and prosperity. Keep on being the great soul that you are in spreading happiness. That wraps it up from me and the entire team. It's goodbye for now.